Who will be on upset alert in week 4? So we are moving quickly through the college football season, and the averages have played out so far with this series. So if you're new, or maybe you're not new, but this is just something interesting, we've always said it kind of plays out to where you get 2 of the 8 games each week that turn out to actually be upsets. So in week 1 we had 2, in week 2 we had 1, and in week 3 we had 3. So it has averaged out to 2 upsets per week, which is really what it's been for the last several years that we've done this. So the upsets this past week that we had on the video: Memphis, they went into Tallahassee and upset Florida State. UNLV pulled off the upset against Kansas. And then I did have Toledo on the video, Toledo upsetting Mississippi State. So again, 3 of the 8 games last week were upsets, but normally it's 2. That's kind of the number. Again, we have weeks where maybe it's just 1, and we have had it as high as 5. This is a tricky week because there are a lot of games that I kind of had in my mind. They were on my radar to pick for this series, and then I go through the list of games, and the spreads are like 2.5, 3 points. And again, the spread has to be 4 points or more to be considered an upset and to make it into the video. And so, yeah, this week was kind of tough. You had games that I just don't see them being upsets, and then you had games where the spread was really low, and it was just hard to find video of games that qualified for the video. So maybe we don't get 2 this week, maybe only get 1, or maybe we do get 2 or 3. We'll see how it plays out. So far, this season has been very, very interesting. So let's start. We're going to go from the least likely to most likely, in my opinion. Again, the 8 games that where teams should be on upset alert. And we'll start with Notre Dame. I don't know about Notre Dame. I have no idea. So this team, they lose to a MAC opponent. So they lost to Northern Illinois, to a MAC opponent, and then last week they looked great against Purdue. They looked really good against Texas A&M in week 1, or at least defensively. So I have no idea what to expect from Notre Dame, and they've done this for the last few years under Marcus Freeman. They've lost games that they just should not lose. I believe they lost to Marshall, lost to Stanford. I can't remember now. It's been a weird couple of years here with Marcus Freeman, and so I don't know what to expect with Notre Dame, and that's why I'm putting them in the video. I mean, I would assume they're going to win this game easily, but Miami of Ohio is a pretty good MAC team. They played Northwestern tough. Their other loss was to, I think it was another Power 4 team. I can't remember who the other loss was to. So yeah, this one, we'll see. And that's really the story of the video this week. It's just that we don't know about these teams yet. It's not that you're finding a trap game or a game that favors one team in certain matchups. It's just we don't know about a lot of these teams, and that's why you can see an upset, because we think a team's good and maybe they're not, or maybe we think a team's not going to be very good and they're better than we think. It's early in the season, and it's tough to figure out all these teams. So let's go to the next game: Michigan State, Boston College. Perfect example. I think I know about Boston College. I think I know what this team is. They're going to be pretty good on defense, and they're going to have a good run game. You just know they're going to be a pretty good team. And then with Michigan State, they're 3-0, but they haven't really been tested. They had a nice win over Maryland. So what is this Michigan State team? Are they a top 25 caliber type team, or are they an average team, or are they a bad team that's just had some things go their way in the first few weeks? That's the story here. We don't know about Michigan State, and I don't know how good they are. I believe I know how good Boston College is. And again, I think they're a solid team. They're playing at home. They're favored by 6.5. This game will be on the ACC network at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So this is an interesting game here. All right, next we go to USC Michigan on CBS, 3:30 Eastern time. USC favored by 6 in this game. I feel like USC is a really good team. That's kind of what the first 2 games have shown me for the Trojans. You look at LSU, though, struggling against South Carolina. Now you kind of wonder just how good is USC. And for Michigan, we know their offense is bad, but how good is their defense? Was it just the fact that they played a really good Texas offense and this defense is still really good? I don't know about that side of them. So it's a home game for Michigan. The crowd will be a factor if this game stays close. The spread's 6 points. I like USC here. I just think they're the better team, and I think the home field advantage won't be enough, but it's at least worth considering. I think you at least need to put the Trojans on upset alert. Who would have thought preseason that USC would be favored in this game? that is a big, big surprise. All right, Tennessee, Oklahoma next, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Tennessee favored by 7. Another weird one here. So, yeah, Oklahoma has really struggled on offense. They've had some injuries. I think they're going to get some guys back. That's going to help them. Defense has been pretty solid, though, and you know, defense can help you in these types of games. When you're playing at home and it's a big game and you can feed off the crowd, defense sometimes can play even better than normal. So that'll be the matchup here. The defense of Oklahoma against the offense of Tennessee. Again, this game is on ABC. It's the game of the week. Game day is going to be there and all that. So this is going to be a big game. Tennessee, another team that, you know, we know they're good, but how good are they? Are they an elite team? Are they a top 10 team? Or are they a good, solid top 20 team? NC State does not look great. So, yeah, you look at that win and think, yeah, Tennessee, this team is for real, but maybe NC State's just bad. I don't know. And so this one is going to be a fun one. I like Tennessee here. Again, I'm not picking these first few games. I definitely would not pick the upset, but there are things there that make you wonder if it could possibly happen. All right, next we've got Illinois, Nebraska. This is a Friday night game, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. Nebraska favored by 8.5, and it's the same story here. Illinois, how good are they? You know, they beat Kansas. That was a really good win. They made some plays in that game. I didn't feel like they played great. Their offense has, you know, kind of struggled in that game, but Nebraska looked great against Colorado, but that's the only real test that they've had, and I don't think we know how good Colorado is. So it's very tough to predict. Illinois is a team that I have had a really hard time predicting. I said that in my preseason predictions. I picked them to have a terrible season, and I said that even the last couple of years before this season, I've been wrong. When I pick them to be good, they're terrible. When I pick them to be bad, they're good. I don't know why I can't figure out Illinois, but I can't, you know, I just can't. I think that Nebraska is clearly a better team, but Illinois has proved me wrong so many times. So I think you have to put the Cornhuskers on upset alert here in this one. Next up, Kansas State, BYU. This one's at 10:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Kansas State favored by 6.5. So we're talking about BYU. How good is BYU? I thought this team was going to be bad. They've looked pretty good so far. Their defense has been really solid. I think if they can slow down the Kansas State run game and force Avery Johnson to throw the football, that's going to be an advantage for BYU. They're playing at home. I don't know if their offense is going to be able to do enough against this Kansas State defense, but we could possibly see an upset. So we're starting to get into the games now where I think, yeah, we could see an upset here. It wouldn't shock me if BYU upset Kansas State. But again, I just don't really know how good BYU is. And then we've got Georgia Tech, Louisville, 3:30 Eastern time. Louisville favored by 10.5. Same story here. How good is Louisville? I have no idea. Georgia Tech's a solid team. I think we know that. They're not going to be a top 10 team, but they're a solid team. You know, they've got some good pieces there, a good offense, and an improved defense. So we're going to find out how good Louisville is in this game. Again, it wouldn't shock me if Georgia Tech pulled off the upset, just because, again, I don't know how good Louisville is. So that's an interesting game there. ESPN2, 3:30 Eastern time. And then finally we go to Florida, Mississippi State. This game's on ESPN, noon Eastern time. Florida favored by 6. I know Mississippi State's looked bad, but so has Florida. I mean, both these teams have looked bad. How does Graham Mertz and this Florida team handle the road, a road game? The cowbells will be going. You know, for Florida, it's kind of like, have they given up? You know, Billy Napier is going to get fired. I think it's inevitable. And so how much are they going to care about this game? You know, that's going to be a question. Mississippi State, on the other hand, yeah, it's been a rough start, but you're just kind of starting something new there with Jeff Lebby, and I think there's still some excitement, and this would be a big win for them. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Mississippi State won this game. This is, in my opinion, really a toss-up, so I think it's definitely the most likely upset to happen here in Week 4. But those are my upset picks, or at least the games where I think teams should be on upset alert. Would love to get your thoughts. Give me your comments on these games and maybe a game that you think could be an upset that I didn't mention down in the comments below.